Steve Smith of Touchdown Alabama magazine coming to you right here following the Alabama-Arkansas game, homecoming for the Crimson Tide. Bryant-Denny in Tuscaloosa, Alabama getting the 24-21 win. And we saw what Nick Saban was referring to in his press conference on Wednesday prior to the game when he talked about the focus, the attention, things not being there the way they should be for this Alabama team. Maybe taking Arkansas a bit lightly because the Hogs coming in 2-4 on the season, a program that could have easily been, 4-2 or even 5-1. They lost a few heartbreaking matchups, but still a very good football team. And we all remember the last time Arkansas was in Tuscaloosa prior to this game right here. KJ Jefferson and the Hogs took the Crimson Tide in a shootout. Thank goodness for Bryce Young and Jameson Williams. Alabama got the 42-35 win, but that was a shootout in Bryant-Denny. This time around, not the shootout, but still a close game, 24-21. And here's the crazy thing, guys. In the first half, Bama played well in the first half. Defense held Arkansas to 6 points? Jalen Milroe, passing game, looked dominant. Milroe dropping deep ball bombs. Milroe short the intermediate game looked good. Had 2 touchdown passes, 3 total scores. Of course, the offensive line still, after 7 weeks, trying to find itself. But Jalen Milroe looked good out there. Defense played great out there. But then, second half, what happened? Defense not playing the same. You allow Arkansas back into the ball game offensively. Milroe, the passes not as crisp in the second half. Alabama got away from the run game. Bama was starting to run the ball a lot in that second half, especially with guys like Chase McClellan. Roydell was getting off. Jam Miller was getting off. Justice Haynes was starting to get off. Bama was running the football, and I don't quite understand why Tommy Rees went away from that in the second half, but he did. And Roll Tide Rise Up is in here, and I agree with you, Roll Tide Rise Up. Very stressful it was. He writes in, why can't this team put a solid, complete game together? Absolutely. We go away from the run in the third quarter. Bama did go away from the run. But he mentioned 3 points in the entire second half. Bama only had 3 points in the entire second half. There was a face mask penalty that turned the game around, which goes back to the penalties continuing to hurt Alabama. The penalties at the wrong time. You can't have the mistakes at the wrong time in football games. But it's crazy. Ephraim Davis writing in, haven't seen a Bama team look like this since 2006-07. True. And this was the week where we kind of want to see, Alabama put Arkansas away early. We kind of want to see Bama put Arkansas away and keep Arkansas put away. And we didn't see that. We did not see that. Roll Tide and Rise Up, absolutely. Bama cannot afford to play like this against Tennessee, LSU, or Auburn, because those teams you play like that, they give you your second loss of the year and end your whole dreams and crush your whole dreams. If you go out there in the second half against a Tennessee, an LSU, or an Auburn playing this way. And I kind of had an eerie feeling this would happen, especially after, as I mentioned to start this post game here, what Coach Saban said Wednesday about the players looking like they didn't have the focus throughout this week in practice. The guys looking kind of lackadaisical out there throughout this week in practice. It's crazy. And sometimes, I understand that Bama has shown the resilience of being a second half team, but at some point, this group is going to put together a full game. They got to put together a full game, man. You can't just be a second half team. You got to be a team for 4 quarters. Like, when does that come together? When does this team become a team for 4 full quarters? That's my biggest question right now. I mean, because in the first half, I mean, the passing game was flowing. The first half, the defense was flowing. The first half, you ran the ball a little bit, but second half, you can't have the penalties. You can't have the penalties. Your passing game cannot go ghost on you. And then, defensively, you can't allow Arkansas back in the ball game. And Arkansas found a way to get back in the ball game. You can't have that happen. Brock writes in, penalties are going to come back to haunt Bama if this don't get cleaned up, Steve. I see it happening. Roll Tide and Rise Up says he sees 2 more losses if this team plays like, not putting the team away. And I mentioned this, in my own words on last week. And guys, you brought this in, fans. You asked the fans, y'all brought this in. This is the time of the season where the College Football Playoff Committee, they want to see dominance, man. The College Football Playoff Committee, they want to be able to turn on the tape and be like, okay, at this point, Bama wiped the floor with this team. At this point, Bama took control of the game. At this point, Bama destroyed the opposition. And after a game like Arkansas, the committee, they can't turn on the tape and say, okay, this is where Bama took over. Because Arkansas got let back into the football game. We're now at the point in the season where you're playing for style points. You are literally playing for style points. You're playing for dominance right here. You're playing for dominance right here. I'm just saying, Ephraim True, if this was a 12-team playoff, you could see it, but with it still being, a 4-team playoff right now, you got to dominate your opponent. Saban said today, there's a difference between winning the game and absolutely beating and crushing the will of a team you're playing against. Yeah, Alabama won the game. That's cool. But Alabama did not crush Arkansas's will. Did not crush it. Hogs were in the game. They were in the football game. So, Bama's got to get stuff fixed, man. I don't know what's it going to take to get the penalties fixed. I don't know what's it going to take, man. But that has got to get corrected. Bama's got to be able to run the football at will and stick to it when it's working. Stick to the run when it's working. Tommy Rees. When the run is working, you stick to it. You don't sit there and go away from someone that's working. Got to get the passing game to be consistent for 4 quarters. Work got to be done, man. There's work that's got to be done. Because now, here come the big ones. You got Tennessee, Bryant-Denny. They beat you last year. Here they come to Tuscaloosa next week. And then you got, LSU coming. You got to go to Kentucky. You got Auburn. Got to have this stuff right, man. Roll Tide and Rise Up. The left side of the offensive line, for the life of me, whether it's Proctor, whether it's Pritchett, the left guard, I like Jaden Roberts. Just keep him there. Keep Jaden Roberts at left guard, but stop switching Proctor and Pritchett out. Pick one and just go. Pick one and just go. They both are taking their lumps. They both are taking their bumps. I understand that, but just pick one and just go at this point, because Pritchett was allowing pressure. Proctor was allowing pressure. J.C. Latham was even allowing pressure. Milroe got sacked, 5, 6 times in the game, 7 times in the game. It's crazy. Chef 18 Wheels says, I think Milroe is making the simple stuff hard, but that's just me. I mean, Chef, that's a good point. That's a good point. The deep balls he's hitting with ease, but the short to intermediate game, I don't know why it's difficult for him. I don't quite understand it. Can somebody help me understand it? But Chef 18 Wheels, you make a good point. That's a valid point. It's a valid point. He makes the simple stuff hard sometimes. Ephraim Davis, Blake Sims, number 6, was better as quarterback. Blake grew. Blake grew. By this point in the season, Blake was on it. By this point in the season, Blake was hitting on all cylinders at this point in the season. At this point. Chef 18 Wheels, Milroe gets sacked because he doesn't know when to step up or just take off. Maybe he's hurt, but roll tide anyway, Stephen. I don't think Milroe's hurt. I just think it's indecisiveness on his part. I mean, some of it's the offensive line, Dave E. It is. But some of it's also, Milroe and the indecisiveness. He's got to understand, hey, if this line ain't holding, at some point, get the ball out. Throw it away. Get the ball out. Get the ball out. Ephraim Davis, so we need a better quarterback coach. I go back to 2018 when you had Loxley as the OC, but you had Dan Enos as the quarterback's coach, and that really worked well for you. I think Bama could really use just a pure quarterback's coach again. Not an offensive coordinator, just a pure quarterback's coach that's just strictly for the quarterbacks. I think Bama could use that again. Jeff Roy writes in, appreciate you, Jeff. I'm happy we won, but if we don't figure some things out, we're going to lose a game and continue to have many sacks. I'm hoping that we can get it together. Bama's got to, man. Bama's got it. There's the penalties that's got to be figured out. I understand we're in week 7 and this offensive line is still not figured out. And they talked the most this offseason. Dominating, making team. Offensive line talked the most this summer. And they've been the biggest problem. It's the craziest thing. It's the craziest thing. Brian Russell writes in, why has Milroe stopped running when it's there? That's another thing. There are moments where, Brian, you're right, where the hole is there. And Milroe's got to take off with it. He was taking off with it earlier in the season. Don't understand why he's not taking off with it more now. Here we go. Jarvis S. That was a rough one today. It was, Jarvis, it was. You're up 21-6 in the first half. That was good. Second half, I don't know what happened. Second half, I don't know what happened. Anthony Batts writes in, Tommy Rees. Tommy is Matt Canada of the Steelers. Tommy Rees has to involve the tight ends. Case in point, O.J. Howard. Look at Georgia U have got the tight ends involved. Georgia's got the tight ends involved. I don't understand why Tommy Rees is not getting the ball more to Amari Nyblack and C.J. Dupree and all those weapons you got there at tight end. Ephraim Davis writes back in, still learning to be a quarterback. Don't have to be a blue chip quarterback. So there's his thoughts there. Jarvis S. They outscored us 15-3 in the second half. That can't happen, or we will drop another game or two. That's what I'm saying. It was eerie hearing Saban talk about this on Wednesday, about the focus not being there, about the attention not being there, about not locked all the way in, taking Arkansas lightly. You can't do that. You can't do that in the SEC. You can't do that. And Jarvis, absolutely. If you go out there and you play like this second half against Arkansas, Tennessee, LSU, and Auburn going to give you a game. Kentucky going to give you a game. Just being honest. Ephraim Davis, love to be a fly on the wall in Coach Saban's staff meeting. That will be Sunday, Ephraim. It'll be Sunday. They watch film Sunday. And then Monday is the staff meeting. So, yeah. Back-to-back days. He'll be looking Sunday and tomorrow. Sunday and, tomorrow and Monday. It's going to be interesting, man. Tomorrow and Monday. Let's see. James Johnson writes in, Reese is terrible. Ty will struggle as long as he's calling plays. I mean, for as good as he looked at points against A&M, as good as he looked at points against A&M, Ephraim, you know what? I'm going to go with your thought there, Ephraim. I'm going to go with your thought. Reserve judgment on Reese until the season ends. Hey, that's fair. I go with your point, Ephraim. I go with your point there. Reserve everything on Reese until the season ends. Jarvis S. writes back in, when a win feels like a loss. Yeah. Anytime when you don't crush the will of your opponent in beating them, it feels like a loss. Even though it's a win. When you don't crush the will of your opponent in beating them, it does feel like a loss. It does feel like a loss. Don't want Coach Reese to quit. Well, Ephraim, I don't want Coach Reese to quit either. At the same time, though, he's got to get some things going too. He's got to get some things going too. And I think the biggest thing for him moving forward is if you are seeing the run game work, don't go away from it. That's the biggest thing. If you are seeing the rush and attack working, then don't go away from it. That's the biggest thing for Tommy Rees. Let's see here. Roll Tide and rise up. We will still be at number 11 tomorrow if we don't go backwards. Jarvis S. Looks like another week of being number 11 in the poll. True. Todd Colburn. Wolford and Reese need to be on the first train out of Alabama. Now, for the first time, here's some heat coming to Eric Wolford. And coming from Kentucky, what he did with that offensive line, supposed to be the real deal here. And we're in week 7. This offensive line, you're still playing musical chairs at various positions where that should not be happening. Should not be happening. Bama got the win, true, but it did not dominate the way it was supposed to. Bama got the win, but it did not look like the second half against Ole Miss. It did not look like the second half against Mississippi State. It did not look like the second half against A&M. There was no full-on dominance for Alabama in this football game. And we as consumers of the program are still waiting for a start-to-finish dominant performance here from this football team. When will that happen? When will that happen? That's the biggest question we're asking ourselves right now. Is from start to finish, when will we finally see a dominating performance from this football game, from this football team, to where we can look and go, okay, here we go. Here we go. Program got the win. Got the win, 24-21. Improved to 6-1 on the year. You're bowl eligible, which is good. But still not the dominance that needs to happen here as we are second half of the season now. Second half of the season. You cannot sit there and allow, Arkansas to hang around this game. Anthony Batts writes back in, I'm from Arkansas, but I like the Tide. O-line needs to be taught blocking schemes. Hey, Steven, Tommy Rees is a high school thinking coach. That's why he doesn't stick to a working play. Oh, man. Ephraim writes in, Terrion Arnold not wrapping up Come on, man. He had KJ Jefferson for that sack. He had him. He had him. And didn't finish the play. Had him. That's why your high school coaches tell you, go low on them big quarterbacks. Don't go high. Go low. Go low. You don't go high on big quarterbacks. You go low on them. That's what every high school coach is going to tell you. Go low on them. Go low on them. Jarvis writes in, we were supposed to put Arkansas out of their misery. Instead, we gave them hope for the rest of the season. Yeah. That's what's happened. That's what's happened there. That's what happened there. We have all this talent, Roll Tide and Rise Up. We have all this talent, but the play on the field make it seem like we have Arkansas or Mizzou type recruiting class. I mean, this was not a fun win to watch. I'll tell you that. It was a win, and you'll take the win, but it was not an exciting win to watch here. A lot of stuff to clean up. Offensive line, I don't know if this game of musical chairs has got to be stopped. That's got to come together. Penalties at the wrong time, that's got to stop. We got to establish more of this run game consistently. It's something, man. It is something. It is something. But my final thoughts here. Number one, I wish I could be a fly on the wall at this coaches meeting, at this team meeting tomorrow and Monday to hear Coach say it, because it's gonna be some stuff he gonna say, and I wish I could be in there to hear it, but I won't be. And then my second thought is gonna be this right here. Something gotta give. Run game, Bama's not even able to run the football the way it wants to. All that size and you're not able to consistently move guys, that's got to get better. That's got to get better. That's got to get better, man. Penalties, that's got to stop. Passing game, creativity from Tommy Rees. Come on! Creativity, man. We got big games down the remainder of the schedule. We got to put teams away, man. Bama's got to put teams away. Bama can't put teams away. This is going to be very, very difficult because, like I mentioned, we're at a point in the season where this is what the College Football Playoff Committee wants to see. Can you put a team away quick? Can you put a team away quick? Didn't happen today against Arkansas. Hopefully. Oh yeah, and these sacks, give up these sacks, Brian. That's gotta stop as well. That some of that's from the offensive line, but some of that's from Milroe. Let go of that football. Let go of that football. Let go of that football. Gotta do that. But folks, I appreciate you guys allowing me to come on here just to kind of give my thoughts here from the Alabama-Arkansas game. Definitely want to see this group have a dominant showing against Tennessee. Looking forward to seeing how they practice this week. But I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith. Just wanted to come on here to give you just a little bit of things that I had to say here. Check out In My Own Words Monday. We'll be back then. Appreciate you guys.